Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, a few things happened. First off, we found out that there were in fact 3 bullets, and the third bullet came from the third person that was there at the scene. This fellow that we saw earlier, Egbert Benedict, or his real name, Ashley Graydon. And yeah, we basically did a small bit of banter about if he was there or not, and things somehow went to the metal disc that was supposedly for McGilded. Well, not supposedly, it was for McGilded because it had his name on it or something. Let me see, yeah. Anyways, it got found out that his blood was on the disc, so yeah, he now has to explain he now has to explain why he needs the disc. Is that right? No, it isn't. It is a link between yourself and the incident. Yes, because yes, that's what it was. That's right. I had to remember something for a second. Yes. So essentially, what happened was we found his blood on the disc and compared it to the blood on the wall. They're the same kinds of blood. Unfortunately, though, since this is Shomes, not an official thing, we can't usually use that as evidence. But Iris brought out an interesting technicality in that it doesn't really matter because the judge had, as soon as he heard the idea of a third gun, he postponed the summation examination or suspended it, so it wasn't technically over. And because the jury decided to continue, that's just what happened. And so yeah, now that a link's been established, we have to explain about the disc. Yes. Sorry. It has been a while. I've been trying to record all last week, but stuff kept happening, so you know how that goes sometimes, right? Anyways, yeah. We can record today. I can record today, so that is just what I'm gonna do. So yeah, let's start.
There's a note on the disc.
Well, was that his voice? No, I
needed something more nasally.
Nah, that'll do.
There's a note on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy cuddling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night.
Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder?
Yes, my lord, the one and the same.
Good lord, Mr. Graydon! Are you saying that McGilded and yourself were acquainted?
Yes, that's correct.
Order! Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again.
According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windibanks.
It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it?
In all likelihood, he's lying. So, he appeared that afternoon at Windibanks in order to get his hands on the McGilded disc for some reason. Here, I'm sorry if my audio's peaking. I'm trying to see if this is a good spot for like my microphone or whatever. Anyways.
Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please.
Alright, let's do this. See what we got. There's a note saying McGilded, but it belongs to me. If it belongs to you, why does it have McGilded's name on it, then? Would you care to explain how this belongs to you?
As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary.
You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir.
So I forgot the word for a second there.
So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question.
You claim that was your overcoat?
Obviously, and in my haste I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket.
But didn't we literally prove that the overcoat was not yours? What the? A gentleman's overcoat? But this cat thing was... whatever. Let me skip all this. Yeah, they just go through this whole thing, really? I guess if you wanted to try and have like a stereoscopic image thing, whatever. Anyways. And yet, there is a note on it that reads, "Former Gilded."
I am a collector of rare and unusual music box discs. I first met Mr. McGilden at a gentleman's club in the city, and I was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area.
So, the disc in question...
It's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilden hear it.
But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn.
Yes, exactly.
Gina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she?
No, because McGilda had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury.
Oh dear. This is complicated, isn't it?
Let's leave it alone for the time being. Alright, stolen from me by the accused. Proceeded at once to the shop to explain my situation. In the end, the disc was taken.
Hold it!
Let's see this. Had you ever been to Winterbanks before?
Only once, for the purposes of pawning something, but, like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments.
So, when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course, such is the art of the pickpurse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once, in order to reclaim... in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could.
It's 9:12. How am I yawning already? Seriously.
I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place.
Ugh. He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, the disc was taken. Yeah, after you pulled a gun. Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it?
That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are conducting anything that has a connection to Mr. McGilden as evidence.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Inspector?
What do you mean?
The last remark Mr. Grayson had made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way.
No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone.
Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilden's possessions?
I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine.
What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets?
Yes, exactly. You should know all about that.
Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet, he had a dark side too.
Where are you going with this, Van Zieks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, aren't they? That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have a great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're going to need Lord Strongheart's paw print first.
What's all this about? So they're doing a whole investigation ordered by Lord Strongheart that's supposed to be kept hush-hush? Yeah, bro? Really?
Well, it would appear that the inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord.
Okay. Absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Okay, that's a contradiction if I ever saw one. Huh. Did we miss anything, or is that it? In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. I proceeded at once to redeem the article was stolen from me. I don't think that's gonna get into anything. I literally just think that it's gonna... whatever. No reason to break into the shop later that same night. Do we have anything for that? Why would he go into the shop then, huh? Oh, wait a second. He said, what did he say regarding the disc? He said him and McGilded was acquainted, right? The disc says it's for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. Is he gathering up McGilded's items? So, you're saying that Mr. Strahd lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? Or bag?
That's right. Despite being mindful of the danger when walking in the... despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind frequents...
Objection!
Mr. Strahd did no such thing.
Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender.
You came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Winterbanks. To get your hands on McGilded's disc.
Objection! My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense.
Nonsense?
I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear?
Because we don't have proof, that's right.
Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be.
Alright, what can we do then? Huh. We know this is the statement we have to present evidence on, but what? Huh. No reason to break into the shop later that same night. Huh. Well, he was looking for the coat, right? So, would he have been looking for the box as well? Because said it was for... Yeah, he had one for the gentleman's overcoat. So...
Objection!
Oh, great. So it was for the box. He did go for the box, okay. I was thinking earlier if it was the same thing. If he wanted the disc, maybe he wanted the box or something to go along with it. One small box. Because owned by the victim. I don't know. Because I don't see. He doesn't need the manuscript. I can't see anything else he would need. Oh, wait. That's what it was. Okay. It's a music box disc, and this gets a box. So maybe the box to go along with it. Okay. Never mind. I was wondering, because, like, if... Yeah, there was another ticket for the box, so... Whatever. That's why. This disc was deposited at Windibank's on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true.
What?
Mr. McGilded had another article in pawned at Windibank's, as this second pawnbroker ticket proves.
Ah!
There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibank's pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers.
Ah! This is the second ticket, is it?
What had the man deposited?
The article description reads, 1 small box.
A rather vague description as it seems to me.
Are you suggesting?
Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box?
I believe there are some adequate grounds to suspect that you did.
This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft.
That's a good point.
Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument.
So that means for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord.
Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks?
I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What?
Good gracious!
Inspector, show the photographic print to the court, if you please.
Yes, sir.
What prints?
These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras.
Ah, Hurley's red-handed recorders again.
As previously explained using this plan of the shop layouts. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windibank received his customers, and the other was sent to capture the shelves on which the articles were placed for sale once forfeited.
According to the information on this ticket, McGilded's small box had been forfeited already.
2 days before the incident at 9 PM on the 13th of April to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of the forfeited item in the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's on 11 PM on 15th of April.
The victim certainly had a full shop, it would appear.
And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident.
I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare.
Ooh, Is that a chance for another stereoscopic view thing? Whatever? I don't know. Ah, got it. Good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause my recording here. It'll be fine for you. You're not gonna notice it, but yeah. So take this time, pause the video, look at everything stereoscopically. I'll be right back. And we are back. Okay, so I found what we're looking for. In case you guys did not see it, it is, if you look at the pony in the middle, look to the far right where the old stereoscope is. With the viewing hole glass thing. To the far right. You see that? Look a little bit left of it. You should see a cylindrical looking box in front of a photo frame just above the drawers. It's like mahogany red or brownish, and it has like this regal looking markings on it. That's the thing that has depth. So that is the thing that was moved. Now then.
Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache.
Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one possible motive in this case. We explore the possibility that it had been taken in addition to the victim's life.
So your men have already compared these two prints thoroughly, Inspector?
Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these two photographic prints. And the Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy.
I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilded's pawn box, I might have been able to break him down at last.
You know what, Bruno? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same.
What?
So, Counsel, in light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion?
I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy? Yes, there is. Oh wait, no, am I not supposed to point it out? There's a clear discrepancy. Huh. I mean, I guess I'll just use that. I don't know.
You must identify the location in question for the court.
I wasn't sure if I should show the evidence or not, but whatever. The discrepancy is this little doohickey right here.
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them.
What?
When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box.
Let's me. Wait. Unbelievable.
By Jove, you're right! How extraordinary!
What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Mr. Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and returned it to its place on the shelves.
Are you suggesting that... the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact...
Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true. But, alright, McGillard's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? Yeah, it does. Because if it was moved, someone could have easily just taken it up and put it back. I believe this changes everything about the case.
How can that possibly be?
The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. Might have been taken out. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Winterbanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial.
The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth.
To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing.
I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks.
This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place.
Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property.
If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society his reputation implied, in fact. So, I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense.
The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets, and a small box at that. I assure you, I wouldn't accept it even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me.
So basically now it's either we keep things as they are, or we say McGilded was actually guilty and risk literally everything. Jeez.
The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling.
It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have.
Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you going to show proof
The disc or the box are in any tangible way related to the case.
Well,
What's the matter, Rudo? We know that if they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence.
yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGillicud's true character, and we know the disc is significant even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGillicud's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information.
Oh no!
And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury.
But Ginny...
Well, I mean, we have to do that, because if we don't do that, then there's literally no point in getting the thing. Our case is over. Gina goes to jail for murder. What's worse, perjury or murder? You know? Could it be that Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything?
But maybe... this could be a great opportunity for us.
Sorry? What do you mean, Iris?
Well, what is that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later the truth comes out. Every time.
Alright, the exact significance of things that Ms. McGillicud deposited with Mr. Windibank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. I mean, that's better than nothing. We keep things as they are now, and everything is already done for. We have to have her testify. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal.
Oh? What proposal, counsel?
While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGillicud's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand.
The defendant? To what end?
It's to do with the various articles deposited at Windibanks by Mr. McGillicud, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all.
Well, well. Things are becoming interesting.
I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standings, and indeed your own. I have.
Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain that last remark?
The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself.
Very well, if you have no objection. So, this court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice.
Then I shall bid you good day.
Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies.
As you wish.
All right then, Gina. It's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here.
Good luck, Runo.
All right. The articles that Mr. McGillicud had deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the Omnibus case, the trial which was heard of in this courtroom 2 months ago.
Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well.
That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGillicud.
The Omnibus case was intriguing to say the least. And now, here we all are again, the same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend.
Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old bricker maker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilden. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Mr. Strahd whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Mr. Strahd was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilden died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances.
A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the Omnibus murder itself.
Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor this small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings.
Mr. Strahd, would you please tell the court now what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I already said all what I know.
And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Mr. Strahd, this is extremely important.
But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury.
Well, I mean, it was under duress. He threatened her. It was under duress, right? So, I mean...
And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose.
Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Rudo now.
Iris?
We're on your side.
Alright then. I'll talk.
It's the right choice, Gina.
Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing this entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it.
I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilden's porn articles in that extraordinary case of the Omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Mr. Strahd, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements.
This is it then. Everything's gonna come out. Like Van Zeek said, this could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears. But as a lawyer, I'm ready to take that risk. The real truth of the Omnibus case.
Truth is, that brickmaker Culver was in the cabin of the Omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the stops. That's what McGill slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabouts. It threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard.
Good grief, this is outrageous! What you've just told the court is that almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago.
As you say, my lord.
Sorry, I thought this was Mr. Strahd for a sec.
Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated in error in McGillicud's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes.
Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are extremely inexcusable.
I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies.
That McGilded fellow brought into the court.
Don't forget the lawyer and the ace. They were all in it together.
You're wrong, the lot of you. Mr. Narado, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug.
I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that?
He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation! To get the man off scot-free!
Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop. Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it is imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's pawn articles must be brought to light.
Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of the calamity that you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing.
Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord.
Blimey, Mr. Narado.
Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
All right. Hold up. What's going on there? To the right. What is Graydon doing? What are you doing, my friend? Okay then. Okay. Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. Okay, I need to see what these two are doing. What are you two doing? Bro!
Excuse me!
Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Rickson and Mr. Graydon?
Inspector! Mr. Graydon! What? Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack?
You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about?
Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. You think I got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this?
And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine.
But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating.
You will kindly refrain from talking amongst yourselves while the witness is giving testimony.
Yes, sorry, my lord.
What were those two talking about?
Mr. Strahd, continue with your testimony, please.
Alright, I guess let's get back into that. Heard a scream.
Hold it!
To a pawn shop roundabout. That pawn shop obviously being Windibank's on Baker Street.
Just a moment, Counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand.
Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks. McGildy took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up, all careful like, before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it's got to be worth a few bob.
Yes, Gina was sure the disc was worth more than Mr. Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery.
The driver looked pretty happy when McGildy flashed some brass in his face. He went off running like out of lick. Then the bog trotter called on me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin.
He threatened me not to snitch again. Threatened you how exactly?
Told me I'd only been able to stop if I did exactly what he said.
Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago?
Yeah, that's it.
And there was one other thing he said.
Which was? He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The tickets? Well, I never. Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in a lug, to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGildy have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police? It makes no sense at all.
There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGildy had the driver deposit at Windibank's was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs.
Anyway, after that, he let me go. So, I lugged him before the coppers showed up.
Well done, Gina. Can't have been easy to tell the truth like that.
Ginny's really putting her faith in you, Bruno.
Yes, and to think her she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial is over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible.
It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement.
Okay. I think I pressed her on this, but I didn't finish the thing. Yes. Hiding in the storage compartments. Yes. Can't see nothing under there. You feel certain that... Oh yeah, I feel certain you claimed he was the sole passenger. False testimony, my lord. That's what you told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGildy and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot.
What were they talking about?
Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business
dealings, okay.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind. Well, anyway, it got louder and louder, starting to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe, and then, all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all. And I believe you let out an involuntary scream? Yeah. That's what gave me away.
Huh, okay.
Hold it!
Solid disc on the floor, what does that mean? Was the disc you saw this disc?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove lying on the floor.
Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps?
I don't know, but McGilden picked it up pretty smartish. And then he just sat in the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at that time?
He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared.
The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'll get stuck with that knife too.
And he started asking me a load of questions.
Like what my name was and where I lived and that.
He asked me about being a diver too.
But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed.
Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise. All of a sudden I heard a scream over my... Okay,
Then we talk about Mr. Fairplay first. There were two gentlemen occupying the seat on the roof deck, I believe.
That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGilden got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the two cubs from the roof ran up to fetch the slops.
If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left Mr. McGilden, the driver, and you still at the scene?
Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from the outside.
The driver, yes. He also tested.
Sorry, it is like, what, 9:57, so, yeah.
He also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
What did Mr. McGilden and the driver say to each other?
I don't know what happened, and stuff like that, mightn't they?
Oh, that's everything, good.
Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus.
It would appear that on the night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilden took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life.
Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the accused of the omnibus incident, McGilden's coat and its contents were to be forfeited.
I didn't know what I should do with the tickets. I mean, the cub died right after his trial. I knew that.
So, you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own.
Well, why not, huh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime.
Miss Lestrade, it would appear that Mr. McGilden was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be?
Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He probably was gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime.
Oh, the bailiff. What voice did I give him again? My lord. The evidence your lordship has requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. The mysterious little box, deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind. It's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. A key piece that we will have to see next time. Yes. We're like 50-something minutes in, and we're going to a whole nother bit, and yeah. Don't worry though. Because I think this trial is soon to be over. We already revealed, that the whole thing was the trial 2 months ago earlier was a farce. So I think we kind of just have to okay. Yeah, so I think that we have to I think there's just look. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to remember. There isn't too much left, so we can probably do all of that in one episode, and more than likely finish this within the next few episodes. Yeah, because there's not much more left. So I'm estimating maybe we probably have, what, 3 to 4 more episodes of this left if things go without a hitch. So yeah, that's just my plans right now. So yeah. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. What is here and there is next time we're gonna look at that little box that came in, that was brought in, and see what exactly was inside it, or if there's evidence of something being stolen or whatever. So yeah, I'll see you all next time.